What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to talk about what's the guard name? Cayden Boozer, right? For the Duke Blue Devils. And when Duke lost that game to UConn, I was telling everybody that Cayden Cayden Boozer is not a pure point guard. Not in the sense that like what Duke is used to having. Like when you look at the Duke program and you think about their point guards, you think about Bobby Hurley, you think about what's the Jay Williams, and that point guard position is so important. That point guard position will keep you from losing games the way Duke just lost to UConn, right? And I said that you know, once they had lost that game, I said that it was because of the point guard position, not that it was the guy, Cayden Boozer's fault, but a point guard, real point guards, true point guards understand like time and situation, and they know when to give the ball up, when to hold on to the ball. And I think a true point guard would have, with under 10 seconds, any point guard would have just dribbled that clock out for Duke, right? And so now Duke has this kid coming in next year, and his name is Deron Rippey Jr. Now this kid is a he's a true point guard, and that is what this coach is going to have to do because Duke is this won't be the last time for Duke to be in a situation where they're going to need a floor general. Like the coach is not going to always be able to call timeouts every time you want to set up something, right? He's gonna he's gonna have to let these things play through, and then if you're gonna trust the players on the court, and you have to let these situations play out, then you got to have a true point guard. And so that's I already said that. I said he's gonna start bringing in point guards because even last year when they had what's the guy named Cooper Flag, they didn't have a true point guard out there. And for Duke to be successful, any basketball team to be successful, you need to have that point guard out there to be like that bridge between the coach and what's and the players, what's going on out there on the floor. Duke, even though they allowed this team, UConn, to come back on them, Duke would have won this game. They didn't, with 9 seconds left on the clock, all Duke really had to do was just try to dribble out the clock and allow this team to UConn or make UConn foul them so they could go to the free throw line and potentially put the game further out of reach, right? And so now you see Duke is going to bring somebody else in. So I was watching this other guy, some guy, I'm not sure of his name, but he had a video, and this guy right here, he pointed out the same thing. Like this guy basically pointed out that Duke is going to bring in another point guard, and he also believes that Cayden Boozer won't be there next year. Cayden Boozer will probably transfer somewhere else and play basketball somewhere else because his brother is going to leave. So he's not a per point guard. And when his brother leave, when Cam Boozer leave, what's the Boozer name? When Cameron Boozer leave, then he won't be, they won't need Cayden Boozer on the team, to start, especially if he's not a pure point guard. Like I remember when Ohio State had Greg Oden, right? And they brought in Greg Oden and what was the other guy named? Michael Conley Jr. They came in as a package deal because I think they play AAU ball together. And so those two guys came in as a package deal. And Michael Conley Jr. is a pure point guard. So that's why Ohio State was able to have some success that year. I don't think without Greg Oden, I don't think Michael Conley Jr. gets drafted or gets a scholarship from Ohio State. So it was a package deal, and it worked out for Mike Conley Jr. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the video from this guy right here and let you listen to. Let me see. Let me make sure I got him up. Okay. Yeah, and just listen to what this guy has to say about this new kid coming in for Duke next year.
Deron Rippey Jr. will single-handedly push Cayden Boozer out of Duke. Deron Rippey Jr. just went to the McDonald's All-American game and he dominated on every single level, once again proving that he's the best point guard in the entire upcoming high school basketball class. So Cayden Boozer isn't just going to sit at Duke and watch an 18-year-old kid take his playing time. Deron Rippey Jr. not only can do everything with the basketball in terms of handle and creating a shot for himself and his teammates, but Deron Rippey Jr. is a 6'2" point guard participating in the dunk competition and throwing down windmills over another person. Cayden Boozer can't do that. Cayden Boozer was watching the McDonald's All-American game just like everybody else in America. He realized that there's not going to be a spot on Duke for him next year. Cayden Boozer is going to be sharing minutes with Deron Rippey Jr., and when the game gets down to it, Deron Rippey Jr. is going to be Duke's starting point guard.
Okay, so, and I agree. Now, I'm not sure how good this kid, Rippey Jr. is, because I didn't get to check him out, but I do know this just confirms my point that Duke is going to be out looking for point guards from now on. You know, Duke always attract the best talent in the country. And so you need really good point guards to be like that liaison between the coach and the players that are on the court, almost like having a coach on the court. And so to not have that point guard out there, it basically, that was the coach's fault, you know, to not recruit or go after some really good point guards. And, you know, when it comes down to games like what he did with UConn, that experience is really what lost the game for Duke. And the coach learned from that, you know, and he's going after some really good point guards, you know, and because they had the talent in other positions. So this point guard right here, you know, hopefully will put Duke in a position where as though they'll be able to avoid losing in those type of situations, coming down the final minutes with these, you know, with the game on the line. You want to have somebody out there that can do everything like this guy. And that's not even a knock on the guy Cayden Boozer. It's just that maybe if Cayden Boozer was a pure point guard, but even in high school, AAU, like Cayden Boozer, he didn't really have to be a pure point guard or set his brother up. All he basically had to do is wait for his brother to post, throw the ball down to his brother, and let his brother do what he do. He didn't have to draw double teams or penetrate and dish off to his brother. That's just not their game, right? And so you got a kid like this kid Ripley, who can do that, who can do a little bit of everything. And, you know, I just think it's a lesson learned by Duke head coach to have pure point guards out there, no matter how much talent you have in the low post, no matter how much talent you have at the swing position, you need a guy out there who can who's just a pure point guard. And you know, in my opinion, it's a good move for Duke. It just shows that they know how they lost the game. The coach know how they lost the game, where they lost the game at. He got outcoached by by Hurley and a more experienced team, and that's how he lost. But yeah, it was a learning experience for Duke, and so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.